everyone, and welcome back to the Cup Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic day from wherever you are around the world. And welcome back to our match preview show for, of course, Newcastle United versus Liverpool. 12:30 tomorrow. It is on BT Sport if you are in the UK. Anyway, of course, look, guys, it's not a brilliant time, is it, for Liverpool to be playing, of course, but nevertheless, Liverpool Football Club are playing footy tomorrow, which is the most important part anyway. But guys, let me know how you lot are feeling about the game. I know that plenty of people have said this is probably Liverpool's toughest test now away from home in the league, and probably I would agree with it. You know, you look at the form of Newcastle United, they are up there, one of the most informed teams at the moment in the Premier League. But guys, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your start 11 predictions in the comments. Let me know your score predictions as well in the chat as well. And if you're new around here viewing us for the first time, if you could please feel free to leave a like, share and subscribe. It's very much appreciated as always. And don't forget to follow us on different socials, here, Twitter, Instagram, all that other good stuff, and TikTok as well, while I remember as well. But guys, let me know how you lot are feeling anyway. Vinny is in here. We're saying Bruno Gomes wins it. Very, very interesting, my friend. If anyone does want to join as well, there is a link in there as well. Anthony, can I join? You can join if you want to be civil. I know a couple of your Leicester friends are not very civil on Twitter, which I laughed about and was hilarious. I think they may need to, maybe they might need some help as well. But yeah, anyone can join. You're a Liverpool fan, Newcastle fan, whoever you are, you can happily come on and join as well. But I will say as well, before we do start the show as well, of course, we'll talk about Newcastle more in depth. But for me, guys, Eddie Howe's done a fantastic job at Newcastle. I think at the start of the year they had one win. I think they were bottom of the league as well at that stage, and did look like that they would, potentially go down. And yes, I know they had a very, very impactful January with, money coming into the club, new owners, of course, making, signings like Bruno Gomes in, of course, January. But again, I still think that Eddie Howe has done a fantastic job to get them from, where they have been, down in the bottom of the Premier League to now be in the top half of the league is absolutely tremendous. And fair play to Eddie Howe, because I didn't think he would be able to do it when he did sign for Newcastle. I personally thought it would be, of course, a very tough and difficult job. I don't think I thought at the time. I thought that Newcastle might have gone down and then rebuild themselves up and then become, of course, the dominant side with the money and so on. But to be fair, Eddie Howe, he's done fantastic. Somehow he's managed to get Joe Linton to being one of their best players, I would say. You look at, you've got Bruno Gomes, you've got Joe Linton, Saint-Maximin, of course. There is plenty of top talented players there for, of course, Newcastle United. But we are joined by a special guest. He is smirking in the background anyway, and it is Anthony from, of course, Leicester. Ant, how you doing, mate?
I'm good. We're going Rome. We're going. Leicester's going Rome. Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good.
Well, to be fair, apart from your friends on Twitter, like, it was absolutely hilarious.
What did you start?
I literally tagged you in it. I was just like a little bit of salt on it, because I know obviously your thoughts on Liverpool and the quadruple. And all of a sudden, just everyone got angry. It was just like,
I think the quadruple's great. My thing is the media wank fest for it, bro. It's like, oh my god.
It's the thing where it's the constant talk about it. Like, I think within Liverpool, it's, of course, we're excited for it. Of course, we're going to be. But I think it's the fact that none of us are shoving it down anyone's throat yet. If it happens, we will. Don't get me wrong. I think we will. I think
we still sing 5,000 to 1 every game, of course. Like, you're going to celebrate stuff, but it's like you're probably one of the more level-headed Liverpool fans as well, but like the obsession of like Sky and certain like outlets of like how biasedly they're commentating on the title race, it's painful to watch. So I put some tweet out saying, what did I say? Something.
You retweeted something from, I think it was I can't remember which newspaper it was.
Oh, yeah. It was, this is it. neutrals should be cheering on Liverpool's quadruple hunt, and I just retweeted it and said "fuck off."
Yeah, and then I put that salty tweet on, and then I got all kicked off on Twitter.
And it's like it was only between me and you having a joke, and somehow you managed to upset half of Leicester Twitter.
I think it's hilarious, to be awfully honest with you, anyway. But sticking on then to Liverpool and Newcastle, what have you made of Newcastle's season? Because I think it's been a huge turnaround for them. You know, bottom of the league at the start of the year. Of course, we all knew they were going to spend money in January, but the fact that they've managed to turn it around and they are currently ninth in the league, I think, is mad, realistically. But what are your thoughts on Newcastle, Ant?
It's like they're two different teams. Like Steve Bruce and Steve Bruce's Newcastle were the worst Premier League team I've seen, along with like Derby County a few years ago. Now, like Eddie Howe's got them all up, like actually not looking like. It sounds weird to say about a Premier League team. They used to look like unfit when they were playing for Steve Bruce, and like almost like games would pass them by. But Eddie Howe's got them fit, firing, and yes, he's spent money in January, but you like even take that away, just the way that they're playing and sort of getting on the front foot is brilliant. And he's getting a tune out of Joe Linton, one of the players who you could argue was going to be one of the biggest flops of the Premier League era at one point. He's now made him into a brilliant player. Bruno, I'm a big fan of as well. Best Bruno in the league. So, yeah, I think he's doing a brilliant job.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I watched Newcastle last week against Norwich, and Bruno Guimaraes, for me, he just looks to be the absolute complete midfielder at the minute for Newcastle. Completely controlled it, as struggling below. No, but he's the complete guy in terms of he looks to be control of that midfield. Like we talk about, a Thiago person who like takes control of the midfield, and Bruno Guimaraes does that for Newcastle quite well. I think last week it was the through ball, I think, for one of Joe Linton's goals. I think it was the last goal for Joe Linton. And it was just beautiful. And for me, I think he's been the game changer completely. And as well, Joe Linton's versatility for Newcastle, because last week he played at started at striker, ended up at left wing. And I think, even before that, he was playing centre mid as well at times. But yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? How like Joe Linton's like now the Brazilian James Milner in terms of centre mid, striker, and left wing.
It's like, thing is, we played them 2 weeks ago, but admittedly, we did go there with our reserves because we had to go Eindhoven like 4 days later. But like Bruno was just like a class above anything else on the pitch, and yeah, admittedly, we were playing like Hamza Chowdhury and like basically the reserves. But you can see a good player when you see one sort of thing, and like the way that he was like pinging passes about, he scored like the last minute for us, and I'll be honest. I very, very rarely miss an away game. I'm glad I missed my training that morning. Didn't fancy, but he just does look absolute quality, and he's one of those because Newcastle's like, if they hadn't got the money they had now you'll be looking at clubs like you guys probably looking to take him off Newcastle for big money, City, Chelsea, X, Y, and Z. But now for Newcastle. That'll be the core of the like what they're trying to build around, those kind of players, those young players that will develop and grow at Newcastle and try and like take them on to that next step. Because I've seen a lot of Newcastle fans, I think there's a fair sort of split in their fan base, and like the realistic ones are saying about like making a genuine like top 8 challenge next year and like a sustained push for Europe. And these are the kind of players that you need to be doing it with. You like at the moment, like it will come with time, and we saw it with Man City. Like you can't just buy the success instantly. It takes time.
Yeah, no, it does, and like I think for us, Liverpool, and I will get to you guys' comments. Well, keep them coming in. I think with us, of course, it took better part of 3 years to properly challenge. Under Jurgen Klopp, I still think.
Like you say 3 years, but you're in a much better position when Jurgen Klopp took over than what.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, well, you look at it, freaking, he had to completely change the first 11. Like you look at it, we still had Joe Allen, Jordan Ibe, Christian Benteke, and I think as well, if Newcastle are to take at the minute, I've praised Eddie Howe. I think he's done a brilliant job to get him out of the relegation zone and to the top half of the Premier League. But of course, Newcastle and these new owners will want to win the Premier League in the next few years. For me, I don't think Eddie Howe can do that. It's then, of course, who is the manager to do it. Of course, Newcastle owners will have a solution for that anyway. But of course, we will see in the future. Anyway, Luke is in as well saying, "How are you?" Hello, Luke. Hope you're on a fantastic day. No Hamaza on this channel. He's a disgusting player.
Unfair on him. So he made one bad tackle, and his name's been. He's a shit footballer, but he's not disgusting. Like, it makes it sound as if he's malicious and all of that. Like, he's not. He's one of those that he's got such a bad reputation from one bad tackle, which I think is proper unfair on him.
A dirty bastard. That's what I want to call it. To be fair. How are you guys doing today? I'm fantastic. Thank you, Mark. I think Ant's good as well. Mitchell says, "Hey to Con and Ant as well." Hello, Mitchell. As well. Do you feel Newcastle away will be hard game? How you think Liverpool will set out? Because Newcastle will be tough. Well, like I did say, I think, like as many other people have said, I think this will be Liverpool's toughest game away from home now to the rest of the season. Of course, Newcastle bang in form. But I think it's like 6 games on the bounce that they haven't lost, so they've won at Newcastle. And I think that's the crucial thing about it as well. It's 2 most informed teams, and I do think it will be tough. But again, I don't see a Eddie Howe team being defensive, and I just see him going for it because they have nothing to lose. Realistically, they're not challenging for anything. If they can be the ones to stop Liverpool, winning the Premier League title, that will be, of course, the headline in that. So I expect them to be attacking in this and to go for it, to be awfully honest with you. I don't think they'll sit back. And I would be shocked if they did, truthfully, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I've never well, it's not Eddie Howe's way to sit back. He gets on the front foot. But so I know I keep going back to it, but it's because it's obviously the most I watched Newcastle is when they played Leicester last week. And even we went there with practically our reserves, and we still had, on another day, I know we lost 2-1, but we went there and created a lot of chances. So, the fact that you'll be going there full strength, very surprised if it's not very similar for you guys. So you'll probably dominate the majority of the game and have chances. Because Eddie Howe's teams do give up chances, and it's as good as this run of form has been on it, I do think there's a bit of sort of, it's papered over a few cracks of defensively they still aren't all that.
Yeah. Well, I think that I praised them, midfield, Joe Linton and Bruno Guimaraes, but there's no real defensive player there. I know Jonjo Shelvey's there sometimes, but I think that there's no really none of their midfielders are defensive-minded midfielders, I would say. And I think as well, I know they've got, Dan Burn, which has been brilliant for them, Matty Target as well. But I think, another centre back, because I know, is it Shear for Newcastle? I know that he signed a new deal today. And I think as well, Manchester City were looking at him about 2 years ago as well to replace, I think, Laporte or be next to Laporte. As well, but not now anyway, because he signed a 2-year deal. I think 2 or 3 year deal with Newcastle. Anyway, have you seen the tweet from Talk of the Cop? Liverpool have agreed a £45 million deal for Tchouaméni, 5-year deal. I know I haven't seen the tweet, and I wouldn't say get your hopes up yet, Mark. Of course, there's rumours and whispers going around at the minute, isn't there? But of course, I'd love Tchouaméni at Liverpool, 100%. It would be amazing if it's true as well. And Newcastle will be very hard game. They will park the bus. Like I said, Mark, I don't think they will. It's not Eddie Howe's style to play park the bus. Anyway, but moving on to Liverpool, Anthony, quadruple.
I said I think you'll win the double this year. I don't think you'll win the quadruple.
So what? Premier League, Champions League?
I've said Champions League and Carabao Cup. I think.
You don't think we win the FA Cup?
I don't, because how many Chelsea can't surely lose 3 FA Cup finals in a row.
History's meant to be made.
I'd love. It would be hilarious, and it would make me so happy to see Chilwell crying at Wembley for a second year in a row. Genuinely, have you seen the pictures of him in tears? If you have
Yeah.
me on Twitter, you'll probably see them quite a lot. I retweet them, but I would love nothing more than to see that rat crying at Wembley again. But surely, like, eventually they've got to win it, haven't they? 3 finals in a row.
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
like a law of percentages. Eventually, it's got to happen.
I don't know. I think that Chelsea are in a weird space at the minute because even though they can't really get pulled into the top 4 race, at the minute, they're just on cloud 9. They're not going for anything. I think if a Chelsea back a month ago or a month and a bit ago played that United team yesterday, I think they would have battered them. I know they battered them anyway, but I think that Chelsea are just on cloud 9 at the minute, and they are just waiting now for this FA Cup final, realistically, to wrap up their season. But I don't know. I look at the game against United yesterday, and I look at the games that they have played against, like Arsenal and different games. Real Madrid in the Champions League. I think this Liverpool team beat them. Of course, we've already beaten them once this season at Wembley, as well.
That's part of the reason why I think they might get it done this time because of last time. Because they felt very hard done by, and I'm still not convinced by that Lukaku goal being offside. I'll be honest, but do you know what I mean? Like, I don't like Chelsea, so
Nobody does.
But like, as a Chelsea fan, you can see like where they would have felt hard done by, and that they'll have a point to prove it, etc. And like going into it with that extra motivation, and like saying that if you would like, there's no guarantees that you will, but you would very much expect you to progress against Villarreal now. You'll have bigger fish to fry than the FA Cup final. But at the moment, whilst we're still the holders, it is the biggest cup in the world.
Because we're still the holders. It's like literally, I can just imagine the tweets in the FA Cup final. It's like the 89th minute, Liverpool are winning. It's like, we've still got 1 minute left of being the champions of the FA Cup. Like, I'm waiting for that tweet from you. I'm waiting for it.
What was it that? Oh, I don't know if you remember. You know what? When we won the league, I don't know if you followed me back there. When Fabregas scored and stuff, and it was going on to like 98th minute at West Brom with Chelsea. I was tweeting like the 96th minute. We've got another minute of being champions.
Jesus Christ. I can just imagine it. Honest to God, I can just imagine it. Mark says, there's a link as well for Anthony's channel. If anyone does want to go and check over to Anthony's channel as well, would fully recommend it. To be fair, yeah, but they would love to hold advantage for the title. Yeah, no, advantage for the title. Yeah, no, I agree. I think of course, from now until the end of the season, Liverpool have 8 finals we have left. Of course, we could potentially rest players as well for Newcastle. I would say, of course, we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks, 3 or 4 changes each game for Liverpool. Of course, many people go on about Kostas Tsimikas. Will we change the midfield? Will we change the front 3? I know plenty of people have mentioned Divock Origi's name for Newcastle. To be fair, but is there one Liverpool player that you think will be key for Liverpool from now until the end of the season? Like main player?
I think it's not even the main player. I think it's just keeping the momentum. And it's like, but you've got that depth now that Man City had for so many years. I think you're almost on a level playing field. But say, for example, if a Robertson does get injured to the end of the season, you've got Tsimikas who can come in and there won't be a huge drop off, because I think there was a long period, and I don't know if you would say this is sort of wrong or not. I'd like to hear what you think, but you had a starting 11 that could compete with just about anyone, but then the drop off to that was absolutely massive. Yeah. Now the drop off, I'd say your first team again can compete with anyone and is like probably one of the pace setters across Europe. But now you've got a bench as well that you can rotate, and the drop off isn't anywhere near as noticeable. So for me, I would say it's more about just mind. Like, it wouldn't be one player; it's about the mindset of that mentality, like a siege mentality of game after game after game. Like, it doesn't matter if you're playing poor and winning; you just need to keep that like winning momentum going. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, no, it is, and I agree. I agree with what you said. I think that Liverpool back probably when we was first challenging the league, starting 11, or the start first 13, 14 players, I would say, would be probably the best in the league in terms of starting 11s. and so on. But then it would be then the additional, 21-man squad wasn't the best in terms of quality. We've spoken about Luis Diaz over the last couple of months on the channel, and we've said plenty of times that Luis Diaz, it's just the brilliance of the scouting department to bring him in. Of course, I know thanks to Spurs and their offer, we were fortunate to bring him in January, but I still think that, of course, he was number one target in the summer, no matter what. But I just think that Liverpool adding him in, as well as keeping a fit squad in as well this season, I think has added plenty. And this is why we're going on the quadruple hunt, is because we've had everyone pretty much fit since probably the beginning of the year, I would say. I know we had that that COVID hit and the injury at the start of January, I think it was. But since then, I think the Liverpool squad have been pretty much full since then.
Yeah, you're always going to have a couple of periods throughout the season, like even in your best seasons, where players are unavailable through like small injuries and stuff. But I'd say this year you have got it like you've I don't want to say fortunate, but you've got it very right in terms of the injuries and that side of things. But and then when it has gone wrong in terms of players picking up injuries, you've had the players to rotate it. So it's like if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be excited, not just for now, but like it looks like you're building properly for the future as well. It's like Luis Diaz is at that age now where he's already a very good player with European experience in a top. Is Portugal classed as a top 5 league? I don't know. Top 5 or is it 6? Because always interchanges with them in France, but sort of that level of league anyway. And like he's like a player who can really then come in and go on to that next level whilst already being a good player. I know you're probably getting Calvin Ramsey, which is a bit of a shit one for Leicester fans because we've been linked to him for a while. But then it also looks like Ricardo Pereira was staying. So it looked like we were going to sign him because Ricardo Pereira was going. But then Ricardo Pereira is staying. So I'll take that. I'll be honest. Like, when you've done a lot of research on someone and then you're like, well, that's a bit of a waste of time.
But it's like Kostas Tsimikas with you. I remember like me and you were just speaking and we were like, oh, well, he looks like he's going to Leicester. And it's like, oh yeah, Liverpool have just submitted a bid in for him. And you're like, oh, for God's sake. Like,
I'm not that bothered that we missed out on Tsimikas, but it was just the amount of time that I spent looking at sort of watching dodgy highlights of the Greek league to see what he was all about. But yeah, because it worked out probably better for everyone. So we got James Justin. What a player. And then Tsimikas for you is brilliant. But it's like the fact that you're buying these players for at the moment. And I think Leicester's transfer strategy is very similar to Liverpool's. Obviously, you do it on a bigger scale and spend more of it. But bringing in those younger players that can then go on to that next level and progress instead of those like pre-made superstars. Yes, you have done it with Van Dijk, like spending the 75. Is it 75 million?
75, yeah.
And then whatever you did for Alisson. So yeah, let's not lie and say that you haven't spent money, but there's the balance that you've got of making it sustainable and doing it for the longer term as well.
I think the thing is as well with spending big. I don't think Liverpool. Of course, Liverpool don't spend big, every single time. See, like Andy Robertson, £8 million. I think what helped with Alisson and Van Dijk was the fact that we sold Coutinho for 145 million, and that was practically used to buy Ali and Virgil.
Yeah, I don't know because obviously I live near in between Birmingham and Leicester, and so I get a lot of the Villa news stuff coming through. Same, apparently, like Barca still owe you something like 50 million for. Is it something like 50 million or something?
They owed us. It was like a mad percentage of. I think it was like last season. If you got a certain percentage, they'd have to pay like 5 million extra or like 10 million extra. And because they didn't have to pay it. They put like dodgy tactics last year, but like apparently they've paid 145 million now. It was just like additional onto his contract to what we was paying. So what they was paying.
They are a state of a football club, aren't they? Like they look like they look like they've sort of come out the worst of it now. But how can you be a football club that size and be such a state?
Well, you look at it, and I think that a lot of people go around and they say, at the minute, Barcelona have done brilliantly to turn around the club. But you look at a player like Coutinho. Coutinho should be playing for a team like Barcelona. He's, world class on his day. And I just think that it just goes to show he was never ever. It was just a big signing just for the sake of it. It wasn't any good for Barcelona. It's like Ousmane Dembele. Ousmane Dembele, of course, his season at Dortmund, he was fantastic. And I think his first season as well at Barcelona, I think actually paid out, but the rest of it has been terrible.
The thing is with Coutinho though, like he got showed. Just by the way, he got showed absolute levels by Dewsbury Hall last week. But with Coutinho, that deal never made sense to me because, like, they had Neymar. Was it Neymar, Messi, Suarez? He was never getting him that front three.
No, Neymar left by then, I think.
Oh, had he? But then they were playing him as a centre midfielder, and then they moved him out as a left winger. And it's like you've brought a £140 million player, but you don't actually have a spot in your team for it.
Yeah.
It's like, like if you gave like a 4-year-old your controller to play career mode and just like
that's what they do
with like anything. It's like he's not a bad player, but it's like just what are you doing? It's like Danny Drinkwater going to Chelsea for 40 million. Like, when you just look at someone, you're like, what?
Yeah. I agree with you. Loving that Mohamed Salah has been crowned FWA Footballer of the Year award for 2020. Yeah, no, exactly. I love the fact that Pep's reaction as well was, talking about, how De Bruyne got robbed of it and that. And
weren't you lot saying Jordan Henderson should have had it a few years ago? Let's come on.
To be fair, in 2019-20, Jordan Henderson was the best midfielder in the Premier League. Like, I don't even care, whoever you are. Yeah. Hey, you think Yuri Tillemans is amazing?
Yuri Tillemans is fucking class, and I won't be told.
But yeah, congratulations to Mo on getting the Player of the Year award or Footballer of the Year award.
Don't you find? I know he's been the best player this year. Don't you find it's a bit strange that only one major honour has been handed out so far this year? Yeah, we're already coming into like the Player of the Year awards when there's still the 4 biggest competitions are still left to be won. I always find because it's Mo Salah or like
it's weird every single season because normally it's done earlier, isn't it?
Yeah, I always think like, why don't you wait till the end of the season to give out the season's awards?
I think though now what's Mo on? I think some 44 goal contributions in the league this season, which is mental.
Yeah, it's not as like denying that Mo Salah should win it and like is very deserving of it. Obviously, it's just I find it very weird that that's like why do it before the season's ended? Like,
yeah, it is a bit strange, but up the Mo Salah. Tomo's in as well. Hello, Tomo. Hope you're having a fantastic day, my friend. Toon Army, Toon Black and White Army. Hello, Newcastle fan. Thank you for popping in, my friend. Ben Doku injured as well, says Mark. Bad news that is. Then, to be fair, Mark, if you know any other news, please let us know in the chat. Anyway, but in terms of start 11 predictions, then for the game, let me know your guys' thoughts in the chat down below. I think for Liverpool, it's going to be Alisson Becker in goal, Trent right back, probably Joel Matip will come back into the team alongside Virgil van Dijk and Andy Robertson. I do think Fabinho, Keita and Jordan Henderson will be the midfield for the weekend as well. I think the front three will be Mo Salah, Diogo Jota and Sadio Mane. That's my front three anyway. But guys, let us know your start 11s in the chat. Tomo said, I'm subbing and liking. Thank you very much, my friend. I do appreciate it. Who do you think are winning? Liverpool, of course. Absolutely. I'll ask Anthony for his score prediction in a moment. Welcome to the channel, Tomo, as well. No bias. I think Newcastle, because they are in great form. They are in great form, and I would agree with you on that, but I just think this Liverpool side at the minute, it's going to take something magical to stop them at the moment. But of course, and this guy will remind me, of course, the last time that Liverpool got stopped in the Premier League.
I was about to say at the moment. Funny you mentioned that.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, even though you little rat, you should never have won the game. But, what was your score prediction for tomorrow, Ant?
I'm going 3-1 Liverpool. I think Newcastle will give a good account of themselves in a good game, but like as much as and as well as Newcastle are playing, they're safe now. There's no worry about that, and I don't think they're going to get much higher in the league. Yeah. For you guys, like a loss now not only kills your title change, it kills that momentum and that like ride sort of towards the end of the season. Because even if you miss out on the Premier League, you want to be winning games, so you're heading into the FA Cup, the Champions League, X, Y, and Z with that momentum and that winning feeling.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I'm going 3-1 personally. I get as well with Ant. I think it's going to be a very, very scruffy game, especially being 12:30 as well tomorrow, which is always horrible, of course, to watch and to be a part of. But of course, it always has to be a 12:30 game, doesn't it? To be fair, Thomas says yes, Liverpool are unstoppable, and says 2-1 Liverpool as well. Yeah, I think I would think it will be tough, and Newcastle will give Liverpool a good game, no matter what tomorrow. But yeah, I'm going to go Liverpool 3 and Newcastle 1. But I think, like we said, and Tomo, you can go back and watch, the beginning of the stream. I think Eddie Howe and Newcastle have done a fantastic job. This season, of course, for what was the start of the season so bad for Newcastle. 3-1 is an average score for us. Well, to be fair, Liverpool have averaged over 2 goals per game so far this season in all competitions. So, expect goals for Liverpool anyway. But to be fair, guys, we are going to leave it there for tonight. Anyway, big thank you to Anthony for coming on to the show. Please shout out your channel and anything else you have coming up.
Ant's Leicester fan channels, just home and away match day vlogs for Leicester City. That's about it. Follow me on Twitter if you want to see Connor wound up on a weekly basis as well.
I don't get wound up. I just wind your friends up and your fans.
To be fair, it's like you try and trigger me, and you don't actually annoy me. You just annoy.
No, I trigger everyone else. Like me and you have a very good banter relationship. Like we banter the hell out of each other, and we don't take it like they. But then you get those idiots that are like, just take it they.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It is sad, and that's the life of Twitter.
Media, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is sad. But me and Anthony, we do have a right to laugh. We do wind each other up quite a lot, but it is fantastic. If you guys want to check it out on Twitter, then please go and do so anyway. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the show. If you have, of course, tomorrow we'll be live with a post-match reaction. Hopefully Liverpool winning by, of course, many goals to 0 anyway, and hopefully, keeping up the chase to Manchester City anyways. Well, thank you to everyone that's in the chat as well. I do very appreciate it. Tomo, thank you for subbing. Mark as well for coming in as well. But yeah, guys, until next time, there's going to be it from me. I've been Colin from the Cup Council. See you all then. Ta-ra.